Masterwork legendary weapon improvements, baby, just in time to see what we're gonna end up getting. Okay, it's another post. Let's see. Here we go. Let's go. Masterwork weapons, legendary improvements. Let's see. RuneScape is another sandbox MMO. Yada yada yada. Avid scaler. Boom boom boom. Yada 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 yada. Combat focus, particular. Progression often centers around acquiring powerful and unique gear to tackle RuneScape's diverse and challenging bosses. Among the most sought after items are high-level weapons that enhance various combat styles. These weapons are essential for mastering the game's combat system and form a backbone of high-end PvM encounters. In this update launching on Tuesday, we'll be focusing specifically on two categories of these powerful weapons: Legendary and Masterwork! Let's look at it, baby! Very first, EZK Big Fat Sword from Zuck. The colossal two-handed sword from Zuck, the weapon of the great champion himself, has long struggled to stand out as a standalone melee weapon. Absolutely, it has always been thrown into an EOF and made into an absolute fodder. It is the worst weapon to ever release into the game. It has literally, you don't use the weapon. It's so bad, but thankfully this will hopefully change. Instead, it's often used as literally tandem other bleed focused gear, which has led it to feel more utility item than a fearsome weapon it was meant to be. Like literally, it's a giant weapon. It's a giant sword, and you don't ever see it. It's like one of the coolest looking weapons in the game. While we're not opposed to some weapons being primarily valued for their special attacks, players have consistently expressed a desire for more reasons to actively wield the sword in combat. Me! In response, we've taken the EZK back to the drawing board and aiming to make a stronger, clearer identity. Whereas the Lang weapons shine in shorter bursts, we want the EZK to come out in its own during longer sustained encounters, rewarding players who commit to its power over time. Let's think about longer sustained encounters. Solak, Telos, Vorkath. Can't think of anything else. To achieve this, we've removed the current special attack, Igneous Cleave, the one that causes the bleed every single time, and replaced it with Igneous Showdown. This new ability has a 1-minute cooldown, costs 65% adrenaline, that's kind of expensive, and draws inspiration from the dramatic duels that Zuck himself faced, reinforcing the weapon's identity and thematic roots. Mark your target for a fiery duel. 4,000 to 4,600 melee damage, deals an additional 2,000 to 3,000% hit from your flame-bound rival. So that's from that. Applies flame-bound rival to target. Interesting. So it's one big hit, okay, for 65k adren, and then you deal an additional. So what is this? So let's look at the max numbers. 4.6 plus 3k, 7k damage. This seems kind of a little underwhelming. We'll see. Has a 1-minute cooldown though. Activating Igneous Showdown will initially deal moderate damage to your target and mark them as your flame-bound rival until either they're defeated or you fall in combat. I like that. Literally giant meat swinging contest. You're just gonna keep slapping each other. Okay. This mark can be transferred to another enemy using the special attack on a new target. However, you can only have one rival active at a time, so you're not going to be able to swap from minion to minion. You can do this for hands at the Dragon Labs, at the Dragonkin Laboratory. Mark one hand, kill that hand. Mark another hand, kill that hand. Okay. However, you can only use one rival at a time. 5% melee damage against your rival bound. 5% damage taken. Reduced. Using Igneous Showdown on the same rival deals additional damage. In addition to the new special attack, the EZK now features a passive effect called Ashen Vow, which is active while the weapon is equipped. Now, there is no cooldown. That's the biggest thing I was looking for. Bolsters Pulverize, Smash, and Quake. So Pulverize is an ultimate, Smash is a basic, and Quake is a threshold. Okay, your melee damage is increased. So how much is it bolstered though? We'll have to look at that when it actually comes down. Oh, it's right here. Okay, Pulverize from 6. Oh, so now you have you have two ultimates that are now 60% adren. Pulverize is huge because it deals a one big fat fucking hit and it's 50% damage reduced. That's pretty huge. In certain plots, we're gonna get blown up. Quake increases hit chance debuff from 2 to 4. Really good, kind of like a built-in status effect. Lesser Smash goes from 150 to 170. Smash increases to 120 to 100 to 160 to 180. So that's a really strong basic ability. That's solid. Okay. With this combination of effective melee damage, enemy debuffs, and enhancements to some underutilized abilities, we believe the EZK will finally establish itself as a valuable and versatile weapon, no longer just a shiny piece of jewelry. Thank God. Speaking of which, as part of the update, we will be returning any EZKs that have been placed into an Essence Finality upon login. You will find them in your bank. If you do not have bank space, you'll be able to collect them from War's representative in War's Retreat. Or if you're a GIM, you'll find them in the group storage. Oh my goodness gracious, guys. That is amazing. Okay. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. That's pretty good. All right. Now, all right. Fracture Staff changes, boys. As a mage main, I am extremely excited for this. One of the coolest looking weapons in the game. Excited to see what this looks like. So the Fracture Staff from Homeworld has remained one of the most powerful weapons since release, but over time its shine has faded greatly. Largely because unlike other T95 weapons, it lacks a passive effect, like the Bow of the Last Guardian and the new mage weapons. This has slightly limited its overall effectiveness, and especially as newer weapons are introduced to enter the scene. With this update, we're introducing a new passive effect, so it's keeping the remaining special, but then it's just getting the added passive. This passive increases your critical. Oh, I knew it, dude. I fucking knew it, dude. I knew it. It would increase critical strike damage, not the chance to crit, but the actual damage dealt, which is fucking huge because that's the whole thing. Right? Critical strike damage increases, would boost your critical strike damage from 150% to between 165 and 180. That's pretty good. That's pretty solid. This effect is designed to synergize naturally with the staff's strong focus on critical strikes and its existing special attack, giving it a boost in modern scenarios. That's pretty solid, and that's just an ongoing passive. Unlike the EZK, we felt the current iteration of Fracture Staff was already a solid place, which it is. Fracture Staff is easily like a huge staple of high-end mage. It is great. It is amazing, a very fun staff. You notice the effects immediately. You notice when you don't have it, and you notice when it's on cooldown. Now, I'm going to definitely shard my Fracture Staff, and I want to see how this looks. I already have a sharded EZK, and we're going to see what those bad boys look like. Let's look into the Elite Tectonic and Tectonic, the tier 90 and T92 magic armors. With the announcement of upcoming a Masket themed armor at RuneFest and our recent blog of 110 crafting and Masterwork magic armor, we wanted to revisit the current state of magic armor, specifically Tectonic and Elite Tectonic, which currently do not have passives. While these tier 90 sets offer this highest flat magic damage, we've often played second fiddle to Tuska's War Priest and Sliske armor effects, which provide a flat 6% critical strike chance. Given how strongly magic builds prioritize critical strike, Tectonic has now been in need of a refresh. And to address this, base Tectonic will get 1% crit chance, Elite Tectonic will get 2%. So if you have 3 pieces of Tectonic, which you can have at max, there's no boots or shoes, you're at that 6% crit chance. Crucially, we're not changing Tuska's and Sliske set bonuses. They will still grant this full 6% crit chance. Instead, the update creates a clear progression path, which is solid. If you want pure crit, Tuska's set remains a strong option. If you prefer flat damage, Tectonic delivers. If you're looking for a mix of both, Elite Tectonic now stands as the best of both worlds. And also, Elite Tectonic is expensive. Each piece is probably like around, the mass is like 100 mil, chest and legs are like a 300 mil. This is the only one that I'm kind of mixed on. I would prefer if Elite Tectonic was a 3% crit chance increase, because Tuska should not be on the map for this kind of like power it produces. Because Elite Tectonic is still like the same level. So why would anybody swap off of them? The damage bonus is a little less. It reduces switchscape, but I mean, like, if you have a Tuska set, it's there already. You know what I mean? It's still godly, exactly. So it's hybrid, so you can use it for a lot of different things. I think they should have made Elite Tectonic to be at least 4%, 4 or 3%, not 2%. Now, base Tectonic getting the 1% crit chance, solid. I'm not angry about that. That's amazing. That's a really good change indeed. But I do think that Elite Tectonic should have gotten a 3%, just to obviously show it is going to be the second best tier in the game once the Masket stuff comes out. I think that's what they should have done. You should, and keeping Tuska's and Sliske's, it's honoring what RuneScape does best, is honoring the player's time, which I think it does really well. Because if people did spend the time to go do the minigame to unlock it, I understand that, I get that. But Sliske's armor set absolutely overperforms, okay? All right, let's look at the Masterwork weapons. With the release of 110 smithing and fletching and runecrafting completed, we have released 3 powerful Masterwork weapons: the Masterwork sword, bow, and staff. These weapons are player crafted through extensive processes that require high levels across multiple skills, often incorporating materials sourced from boss encounters. They boast tier 100 stats and can be augmented but lack any additional passive effects or special attacks. In essence, they are powerful yet straightforward, yet strong but not complex, which is really good. Really good for people who are trying to get into PvM. Really good for Slayer weapons if you don't want to get best in tier slot just to kill Slayer mobs. It's really, they're solid weapons, and I think passive effect is just going to step them up in a nice, better way. In the context of a classic RPG, these weapons would sit above core crafted gear thanks to the significant investment of time and resources required to make them, but they wouldn't be considered ultimate endgame items. Within the RuneScape ecosystem, however, they occupy a more ambiguous space. They are... Oh, sorry, I lost my spot. Ambiguous spot. Are they intended as an accessible entry port for players to learn in combat? Are a training tool for mid to high level progression? Or are they simply another option in the arsenal for experienced boss hunters? Depending on who you ask, the answer could be all of the above. So with this update, our goal is to clarify that role and define what these things are. I love the direction of clarity, because oh my god, there is nothing worse than looking at a gigantic array of options and not knowing which ones to eat, dude. It is actually the most confusing and frustrating thing for a new player, a seasoned player, returning player. It is horrible to not know what direction to have. And like, you don't need to have babysat. You need to know which way the wind is blowing and figure it out from there. All right, that's what I'm thinking. This is a really good way to fix that by providing players this is a general idea of where to go. You know what I mean? Improving Masterworks, sustain, survive, succeed. Yo, who the fuck cooked here? That is good. That's a good line. That's good. I like that. With this update, we'll be adding a new pass for the Masterwork bow, sword, and staff called Masterwork Mending. Yo. Attacks heal you for 2% of the damage dealt? That's pretty solid. Because think about this. Masterwork armor reduces the damage you take by 50%. And then now you're offsetting that with healing? Yo, the builds are going to go crazy. I can already think of some builds where this is going to go crazy. That's pretty good. That's solid. Masterwork staff with Blood Barrage. It's easy, dude. This passive is simple. Attacks with these weapons heal the player for 2% of the damage dealt. I'm a simple man. Internally, we've been discussing how best to evolve Masterwork weapons, taking into account player feedback. Our goal was to strike a balance, enhancing the value as a supportive tool for newer combat players, while also positioning themselves as a viable optional choice for experienced players. Importantly, this update isn't about overshadowing or competing with legendary weapons, but rather about giving Masterwork gear a clearer, more purposeful role in the broader combat ecosystem, which is really good, because you could use this for swapping. If you're having a hard time doing some achievements, you need some sustain, bro. Healing is a highly versatile aspect of combat. For new players, it acts as a safety net, extending the length of encounters and providing more time to learn mechanics and develop strategies. In the hands of skilled veterans, that's me, baby, I'm a veteran, it becomes an additional tool in their arsenal, either helping sustainment in their defensive kits or smoothing over less threatening combat, such as Slayer. Dude, immediately I'm thinking Slayer, dude. Immediately I'm thinking Slayer. Because there's some tasks where you just get your ass kicked. Legitimately. During our exploration, we've considered a wide range of options, including both new special attacks and passives. Some of the ideas include okay, we consider wide range. Okay. Empowered versions of existing special attacks, such as the Dark Bow or Armored Battle Staff, weakened variants of legendary special attacks, unique special attacks that were designed as introductory tools to help players learn core mechanics, and passives that enhance specific abilities like Greater Chain, Ricochet, Barge. While many of these concepts had potential, they often conflicted with the core goals of this update, whether by overcomplicating the experience, blurring the identity of Masterwork weapons, or unintentionally diminishing the uniqueness and prestige of other high-end gear. That said, this explanation has sparked valuable ideas, and we're carrying many of them forward in the design of future weapons and combat updates. Wow. First and foremost, we gotta rank these from which one I'm bricked for most, dude. Easy K, Fracture Staff, Masterwork, easy. I am so excited for the changes for the EZK, dude. hands down. One of the coolest looking weapons in the game is now going to be one of the most viable weapons ever. After some testing, we'll see how they fly. We'll see how they fly. And this is going to be actually insane. I'm very excited for these changes. I'm going to be messing with these all around because I have a tier 100 easy K and I'm going to have a tier 100 fractured staff. The fractured staff, we'll see. I'm not completely sold. I will be interested to see how that goes. I'm a little bit underwhelmed with the elite Tectonic change, but I think that it's going to be like, you're going to get better times regardless. They're all going to be great. I kind of wish it was going to be something more like you gain more, like asphyxiate grants crit chance for like 10 seconds or something. I think that would have been cool because I like being able to weave in abilities, but the flat crit chance on everything, I ain't going to cry about. I think this is going to be really exciting. Let me know what you think in the comments and let me know what you think. Thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe. Bye.